What's going on, YouTube? RDAP Dan here, Federal Prison Time Consulting. And today we've got a special treat here. We've got Anthony Caucci. Am I pronouncing that right, Anthony?
That's right.
Caucci in the house with us tonight. He's a local, South Floridian. And he's got one heck of a story, from mafia stories to making tons of money, selling drugs, going to federal prison. And Japan?
Yeah.
Japan. Talking to the side of it.
Side. All right.
So you can turn it.
There you go.
So yeah, he joined me over today in the home studio. So Anthony, thank you for coming, my man.
No problem, brother.
So tell us a little bit about how'd you get into this? Because you're not in the mafia, but you're connected and you know a lot of people that were in the mafia. And you're doing a lot of mafia type things back in the day. Mm-hmm. So how does this work?
Well, I was a kid. I was 5, and my dad was around guys. My grandfather was, around people, and you just grew up. Grew up around it. Family, friends, and as I grew up, I got to know almost everybody. You're there. And back in the days, you would go from bar to bar or restaurant to restaurant, and that's where you got your business. There was no cell phones. You would hangouts, and my dad would take me with him, and I grew up and just started just to know guys, see how things went. I was asked to do little stupid shit like, move boxes from here to there. And as I got older, I started to understand. But when I was around 15 or 16, I got into the drug side. And that came from my uncle, started from my uncle. And then I met some Colombians, cartel guys in my neighborhood. And I saw the power that they had, and then I looked at the Italians had power, but these guys had power, but they were fucking ruthless. So I got arrested when I was 16, charged as an adult. I went to prison. I took it to trial and I lost. I got out and... You
did how much time on that bit?
They gave me 4. I did a little over a year. Back then they had all this good time. So
state or feds?
State. That was a state charge. They were cocksuckers, those motherfuckers. Charged you as an adult. I was 16, first offense. No violence, no gun, no one got hurt. Ounce of powder. Wasn't even an ounce. They added to it. The cops added to it to give me that minimum mandatory. So I get out and go clean. I'm going to go straight for a while. And then some shit happened. And then called back up to the old Colombians and got back in it again. And, man, I went really big. And I had friends on both sides. So I got, the Italian guys and the Colombians. And actually some of the Italians, some of the big heavy hitters. Jerry Chilli was one of them, Capo for the Bonannos. While he's in prison, I'm trying to make a connection from someone in the airport to be able to get some dope through. And I give him a call, and he says, go see this guy and that guy, and we arrange it through while he's in jail.
While this guy's in jail?
Yeah, while he's in jail. So I just make a phone call to someone, and they say, okay, be at this number at this time. He calls me from inside, and I say, hey, what's going on? Known the guy since I was a kid. And I said, Chilli, I need to see somebody. And he goes, what's doing? I need to see somebody. This is going to be good for everybody. Everyone's going to be able to eat. He goes, all right, go see Steve. It was Steve Maruca. So he's dead now. So I saw Steve and told him what was going on. I said, listen, we need someone that can, at the airport, either whether it's Fort Lauderdale or Miami, that can take dope off. He goes, all right. And I didn't really think they could.
It's like cocaine cowboys.
Cocaine, right? I didn't think they could, but those are the only guys I knew, because I got a call from a friend of mine, a Colombian. He goes, listen, we could put as much as you want on, 1,000, 2,000. I said, no, let's try 50, 100, okay? And he goes, see if you know anybody that can. So I make a call, and to Chilli, he calls Maruca, and I'm not thinking they can do it. But I tell him, listen, if you can get someone who can get the shit off, it's a home run. He calls me 2 weeks later and brings a guy, and this guy goes, all right, just put it in a couple suitcases, I'll take it off. I'm like, how? He goes, I just walk on and take it off. I go, how the fuck are you going to do that? He goes, I work there. I go, where do you work? He's a baggage handler. I said, you're just going to walk on that fucking plane and grab it? And he goes, I get up, I put your shit over here. Nobody's watching. I've been doing this for years. No one's watching. I'll meet you in front of Miami International. We'll give it to you. I said, all right, fuck it. Let's do it.
And what did he get out of this?
1,000 a key.
And there's how many keys?
50.
Wow. So he's making...
Yeah. He's making 50 grand on that shit.
He's taking a lot of risk.
He's taking a lot of risk. Is it 50 or 100? I can't I remember the first shot was.
And
It
he
was
was just
50,
like nonchalant about it, just like, yeah.
Man, I was
got it.
like he was like so like nonchalant. I couldn't
his
believe
first
it.
rodeo.
Right, and it was so easy that I was a little nervous. After that one, I was like, shit, this is too scary, man. I don't want to be in some international trafficking. So yeah, he actually did what he said. He grabbed that shit, met me in front of Miami International, his golf cart, gave me the suitcase, and off I went. Just like that. I was like, wow, boom. So, you know, they made the connection and they kept going. I'm talking thousands and thousands of kilos through Miami, through American Airlines. American Airlines was
Did this for how long?
Years and years and years.
How much
and
money do
years.
you think you made? And can you even say that? Can you say?
Yeah,
how much?
I wouldn't want to say. It was a lot of money.
A lot?
A lot.
Enough?
Yeah, it wasn't a lot. Enough. Plenty. More than enough. I'll tell you this. There was one guy. He had $55 million in his house at one time that all belonged to him, and we had to count it because he thought that someone might have taken a little bit, and it took us days.
$55 million in his house.
Days, because you want to hear something?
Walls and stuff.
In boxes.
Where do you put
in
just
fucking boxes?
like in a
Yeah,
bedroom?
he was up in Brickell Avenue, and the elevator opened up inside his living room, so security was good. You weren't getting in there, so. But he had a few people come in and out, and you want to hear something stupid? These guys got all this money, all drugs. They're looking at 100 life sentences if they get caught.
Right.
But they won't have a money counting machine. They were scared of a money counting machine. We count everything by hand. So much count your thumb muscles like this big.
Right.
Ta, 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 ta. But yeah, everything's by hand. So you're counting all this money. You got 4 or 5 people in there counting and counting and counting and counting and counting and counting and counting, all because you put it in a money counter, done. Because they're afraid if you got caught with the money counting machine plus the money, it added extra time, which is true
But
back
I mean,
then. But fuck,
already
who
so
cares?
much
You already got a
time.
life sentence,
Tripping over pennies
silly
now.
shit.
Checking out some of these comments. Yes, we did. We've got actually a link to Anthony's book is in the description, guys. So if you want to go check out his book, David Cison asked if we read his book yet. You guys definitely go check out his book. You've got a. So what? So we're gonna get more into your story here because I know you've done a lot. This isn't your first time on YouTube, obviously. You've been on Big Herc's channel.
Yeah.
You've got your own channel going right now.
Right.
What made you decide to? I've got 2 questions I want to ask you, and I'm sure I'm not the only one out there. And I've read some of the comments on your YouTube channel.
Right.
A, what made you decide to go on YouTube and talk about this? And B, some of the names that you mentioned are some big names.
Right.
Did you have to ask for permission? Have you ever gotten a phone call?
Yeah. Well, before I wrote the book, that was the big thing. So writing the book was way before YouTube. And actually my mother said, "Are you sure you can do this?" And I said, "Ma, no, either the guys are dead or they already did their time. Okay, so no one's going to get in trouble from anything I say." She says, "Yeah, I know, but these are friends of our, we know these people for our whole life."
Right.
So I made a call out of respect to a friend of mine and sat down with him, and he knew I was going to do it anyway. So I asked him, I said, "Look, here's how it's going to go down. No one's going to get in trouble. Everyone's either dead or in prison. Did their time already." So he goes, "All right, go ahead." He called his friends, and the book was no problem on the book part. Then comes the YouTube channel.
Which, while you're talking, I'm showing
the
you.
YouTube channel was, I had a friend of mine say, "Let's do this," and I was like, "All right," and we started a little bit.
You've only done a few videos. People right now, while you're talking, people are seeing what we're seeing.
Yeah.
If you go to sort, guys, if you look at when he started his channel, if you go to oldest video, it's 2 months ago. And look at the views on these things. 30,000, 12,000, 10,000. I'm doing something wrong.
There's something wrong with that freaking algorithm. It's only 2 months? Seriously? That's crazy.
Yeah. But even, look at that cat. Guys, you
got to see the cat jump on me.
Look at this.
There's one video I'm talking, and this fucking cat jumps on my head from behind.
We'll show a little bit of Anthony's video here.
That's Magnus.
You put it on your headphones, Anthony. You can actually hear what they're
Free. That's right. TurboTax Free Edition is free. Free, 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 free.
Oh, that's like a bit by a rattlesnake. We got the cat. You got to hear the story. Drink alcohol? Smart cat. So my wife wants a cat. I can't stand cats because I'm allergic to them. Slow the fuck down.
You should have brought your book with you.
To a cat fucking
Look at that thing.
fencer, someone who
It's like a lion.
cats and sells them.
All right, so guys, go check out Anthony's YouTube channel. You can watch all about his bitten by a rattlesnake at age 12. So let's pick up where we left off here, Anthony.
That's funny.
But yeah, look, you got a lot of stuff going on. You got your books going. Have you sold a lot of these books?
Yeah, a lot. I'm a self-published. We didn't even need a publisher, so just plopped it. Wasn't really trying to get the book sales.
Right.
It's more of a movie TV series thing. So I just put it in and threw it out there.
You got any movies in the pipe yet? You got anybody looking at you?
Yeah, I got a couple people looking. One guy out of California, not too thrilled with him, but there's a guy locally, so I might go that route. And there's another thing I'm doing with my daughter. It's really good martial arts.
Martial arts stuff.
It's crazy. This one's they already started writing a script. We were going to shoot a week ago, but something happened, so maybe in a week or so we're going to start shooting.
So you're in no danger at all of talking about some of the stories you spoke about?
No, nothing I spoke about, no.
Right.
And I wouldn't say anything that's going to jack anybody up. But
Right.
Yeah.
And you said you've asked for permission and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Because a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, wow, you can't be talking about this. Right?
Yeah, right.
That's
No.
probably the typical feedback you get.
If you're in the mob, like actually in it, you can't do it. Even if everyone's dead or no, that's one of their rules. You can't do it. So I never had to get inside the mob. I had my own thing going on. Why the hell would I want to join anybody?
We got a question from Richard. Richard wants to know, are you connected to anyone in Philly? Negative, Richard.
No. There was a guy on my case that was, and we almost tried to kill him. Yeah, we did. He was very close to dying.
So what's the most fucked up thing you've seen going through, like, you're connected to the mafia but not in the mafia? It's like, I guess it's like the next best thing, right?
The most fucked up thing I've seen was Carlos, a friend of mine, got kidnapped in Colombia, and then he calls me and says, they got me. I need $2 million. So well, fucking call somebody else, And he goes, I can't. It's got to be you, and it was because of family and shit. So I said, well, first of all, how am I going to get $2 million on an airplane? How am I going to do that? So he goes, don't worry, it'll be, and because he had American Airlines, he had it locked down.
Right.
Whenever you wanted on that plane, it was going to be there. He goes, we'll get you a ticket. You tell me what number, and you'll have the suitcase on, at the overhead compartment. So, like I said, I'm in an F10, open it up, there's $2 million there. So I said, all right, that's problem number one. Problem number two, how am I going to get it off the airplane? Because you're going to go through Colombian customs, and you don't want $2 million cash on you. They'll just kill you, and that's Colombia. He goes, when you get off the plane, the cops will be there. They're going to escort you. I'm thinking to myself, oh, my God. Now, he got kidnapped, and the rule in Colombia is if you get kidnapped and you pay, they let you go. It's a business. If they say 12 o'clock, you pay, you're gone. 12:01, you're dead. It's that simple. So, but still, I don't want to go there. And he was right. I got off the fucking plane. The cops were there. Now all these cops are on the take. So I got this suitcase, passport. They grab my passport. They take me up to the fucking middle of nowhere. And there's my buddy Carlos in it, like a shed type of thing. But he was in a good joint. I mean, it was a nice place, but his part wasn't. So I spent the night with him in this little shack, and I'm like, oh fuck, we're gonna get fucking killed or what? And he looked and smelled like dog shit. But the next morning they let us go. And
I mean, what's going through your mind? You must be like, oh man,
yeah,
this could be it.
I knew the rules. I knew the rules that if you got kidnapped and you paid, they let you go. I knew that. But still, knowing that you're in a third world country and they don't fuck around. Carlos gets out and finds out who did it. And he called, it would be equivalent to like a capo here, it wasn't his boss, but it was like the guy in charge of that area of the cartel. So there's many parts of the cartel. So
Right.
it was the guy he reported to, and he told him what happened. He rounds up these fuckers, and we go back, and he says, "This is them." They cut their fucking heads off right there in front of us.
Wow.
And then so let's go eat. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? That was probably the worst thing I've fucking seen.
I mean, does this create like a trauma going forward in life? Because you've been out of this life for how many years?
Well, let me see. I went on the run in 95 or 94. But then in Japan I started, so since around around 2099 is when
Okay.
I got last.
So 2000 is pretty much when you like exited that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Moving into like a suburban.
Well, no, that's when the
dad.
feds arrested me in Japan in 2000.
That's right. You got arrested in Japan.
In Japan. And then they took me over, and I did about a year. I think it was 99 they got me. So I did about a year in Japan by the time I got back, and then
Japan prison or American prison? What?
I took American prison any day.
Really?
Yeah. Well, where I was like in a holding, more like I wasn't like in prison.
It was
I
like the county jail of Japan.
Yeah, it was. Oh God, it was clean. It was super clean, but we didn't leave the room. I didn't take a shower for 10 days. You get one shower every 10 days, and miso soup and rice 3 times a day. Miso soup for breakfast, miso soup for lunch, miso soup for dinner, with a fucking thing of white rice.
Really?
Every day, like clockwork, and every time you finish eating, you say, "I'm not eating that shit again." But in fucking
Of course, you're hungry.
4 hours, you're starving, and then you got the one shower every 10 days.
Oh,
One shower every 10, but you're not. They don't let you out of the room. It's not like you're going to the rec yard. You sit on your fucking ass doing nothing.
so it's like solitary confinement in Japan.
Yeah, with 3 others. So
3 others.
Yeah, and they were Chinese. I had 2 Chinese.
no English.
Yeah, right. 2 Chinese. They were from Fujian province. They tried to sneak over, like the Cubans on the raft.
Right.
Had 2 Chinese and a Japanese guy that I think broke into someone's car.
Come a little closer to your microphone if you can. Just there you go.
And
Oh, much better.
that was about it. And sat there waiting and waiting and waiting.
For the feds to extradite you?
I didn't know what was going on. I know they arrested me, and I didn't know it was the feds that got me. I thought it was a case in Japan, so
Right.
I was like wishy-washy there, and figured out it was the fucking feds.
And then they brought you to the U.S.
Yep.
And you got sentenced once you got to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
How much time?
121 months, 10 years and 1 month. They give me
Okay.
an extra fucking month for I don't know what.
And where'd they send you to?
Coleman.
Coleman.
Yeah.
USP, medium,
I
low?
went to the medium.
Went to the medium.
Medium,
Okay.
low, medium.
Medium. Yeah, because
Me-
Coleman
medium-
has a camp, a low, a medium, 2 penitentiaries.
Yeah. They were building the penitentiary when I was there.
Okay, wow. So that was a minute ago.
yeah.
Yeah. Coleman's now the largest BOP facility.
I heard they got an air runway.
Very possible.
Yeah,
It's a
it was-
huge
yeah.
spot. But so yeah, you're at the medium. As you know, in feds politics, 5K1s, Rule 35s, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Big difference from going from like a camp low versus medium penitentiary.
Mm-hmm.
If you were in the medium or the pen, you probably saw a lot more of like what people see on TV in prison versus a lot of the people that are watching right now, at least from my channel. These are nonviolent white collar crime guys. So this is like, they're probably on the edge of their seat watching with popcorn right now. So guys, the type of prison he went to is not going to be where most of you are going. Even if you go to Coleman, I used to see, because I was at Coleman, Coleman Low, and from the rec yard, we would see over the penitentiaries, and we would hear the concussion grenades going off. And
The bombs,
gunshot,
the boom, yeah.
When fights and riots would break out. Here I am walking the track, eating my fucking ice cream cone, like Camp Cupcake over here, going, man, they're behind this this 100-foot fucking wall. So 120 months, so 10-year sentence. How much time of that did you serve?
7. I got the RDAP. I got 6 months.
you did
off.
RDAP?
Yeah, I think 6 months they got off. It was backed up, and so it was 7 something. But the medium, actually, I preferred the medium. I went to the medium, came to the low. My points went down because
I heard a lot of guys say that.
and then you got 2 men in a cell.
Yeah.
That's it, and shut the door. The fucking low sucked. Oh, it was horrible. And then my points went down to camp status, where they said we're going to send you to Miami to do the camp, and you'll do the the RDAP there. I says, I'm not going to a fucking camp. And the lady was shocked. She goes, what do you mean? I had like 3 years left. I said, you mean you're going to send me to a camp, and I'm going to get on a golf cart every day and drive to a park or the beach or wherever the hell it is and come back to prison every day for the next 3 years? I said, you're out of your fucking mind. When I walk out the door, that's it. I'm done. I'm not taking the camp. So then they got a psychologist to think I was goofy because I wouldn't take a camp. Make sure my marbles were right, because no one else has ever not taken a camp.
Right.
I just said, this doesn't make sense. There's a fence, and I see the fence, and I know I'm in prison. When you're in a camp, there's a painted line on the floor. So I was like, nah.
That's why you see so many guys screw up once they get to the halfway house
They
or
do.
home confinement, because, man, that
The
temptation.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. And I wouldn't want to be on a beach looking at girls all day. It'd be like,
I don't know if the camp was quite like that. Those of you getting ready to go to Camp Miami, I don't know if you're going to be on the beach. You're making a lot of people go, what? I'm going to be.
Some of these guys were telling me they were picking up paper on the beach when I was there.
Maybe back then.
Yeah.
The camp now is, I mean, it's still, more open, but it's not, you're not at the beach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bro. It's and right now with COVID and in the prison system, they're sending a lot of guys that have 4 or 5 years left on their sentence straight to home confinement on an ankle monitor for the next 4 or 5 years.
Makes sense because
Could you imagine being on an ankle monitor for 5 years?
Well,
stuck in your house? Yeah, I know you're going to say better than prison.
Yeah,
but I was on an ankle monitor for 4 months, and it really, I got so in my head about, man, I can't go anywhere.
Right.
You can only go to work, and that's it. Like, you're not going like, I'm not taking my kids out for ice cream.
Right.
You're stuck. And you start thinking to yourself, well, are they really going to know if I leave once?
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of guys are going to violate.
Yeah. When this COVID thing hit and everyone went on a lockdown and freaked out, it's a breeze. You could lock me down. It does, because you're in your house.
Yeah.
But I was used to being in the hole. This is a piece of cake. I could stay in the house for fucking 4 or 5 years straight. Doesn't bother me. In and out, go here, go there. It doesn't. But some people who never, it's a mental thing. When they say you're locked down, they shouldn't even use that word on TV. You're locked down because it's a mental thing.
It is. It really is.
It fucks people up.
It's the media, though.
It is the media. They try to hype everything. Lockdown. No.
But you're right. Prison does build you learn how to deal with things that are outside of your control.
Tolerance. Yeah. And actually, there's times I went to the hole on purpose because of the noise. The noise is so loud. You need peace and quiet, and this was when I was in the low. I couldn't stand the noise, the listening to the bullshit. I'm sure you know.
I was at the low.
Putting their speakers on and listening.
So I liked RDAP. RDAP was a strict unit, so people couldn't do it in RDAP.
So I locked me up. If I can't stand it, put earplugs in, and then you're in the hole. While I'm in the hole, I hear someone yelling through the damn air conditioned vent. How they're screaming through the air vent. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. This is grim. Send me back to the medium.
So you did what'd you say, 6-7 years?
Yeah.
And you came home when? Was this your last bid?
That was it.
And that was what year? What year did you come home?
Somewhere in 2000. Yeah.
So
sorry, 2007. 2007.
Okay, so
I got it popped in
2007, and then you said you had 5 years supervised release probation.
Yep.
And any issues on probation?
No,
violate?
I didn't have any violations. Had an issue. Thank God I didn't violate. It was I was going out with a friend of mine, Natty. He's been on the YouTube channel once. And we go over to the Yard House in Palm Beach Gardens here.
Yes.
And we got reservations for a table. So they take us to the table and say, there's 2 people sitting there. There's a guy and a girl. And the hostess says, this is their table. And he goes, nah, this is my table. And then she goes, no, this is their table. Well, he pulls out a fucking badge and he goes, this is my table.
Wow.
And me and Natty at the same time said, you can stick that fucking badge up your ass. And I was, what did I do? I'm on paper.
Yeah.
And his badge was a star. It looked like a Marshals Badge.
Right.
They got the star. And and the lady, the hostess, went to the manager and got the cop kicked off the table. So now we're laughing our ass off until about 30, 40 minutes later. I look over my shoulder, and that cocksucker's over there talking to Palm Beach Gardens Police Department.
Right.
At the door.
Pulling the strings, huh?
One way in and one way out. And I was like, I'm done. They're going to grab us on the way out.
Yeah.
So closing time came. I bought a hat off someone in their shirt, changed my shirt and the hat, and walked right past them. I got lucky. I was lucky.
And the cool thing, or not, I shouldn't say the cool thing. On this channel, I always try to find lessons for my viewers that are getting ready to go through what you went through. And in the free world, when you're free and clear and you've got no issues, doing what you did is not the end of the world, right? You tell a cop to go fuck off and nothing's really going to happen. When you're on supervised release or probation or on pretrial, these seemingly unimportant choices we might make in a moment's notice, that could have really screwed you over if somebody had spiraled with this, right?
Yeah.
They could have got to your probation officer. They could have just made it way harder for you.
Yeah, they can. I mean, look, when you're on supervised release, if you got a probation officer who has a hard-on for you, you can't leave the county without telling them.
Right.
Now, you should decide, tell your wife, hey, let's go to Disney World.
Right.
Boom. That's a violation if they want to.
Correct.
They can violate you. I don't know how it is now, but back then, that was. So, I mean, you don't realize you leave the county when you're driving Fort Lauderdale, and boom, now you're on Ives Dairy Road, you're in Dade.
Right.
And with phone tracking
Toll
now,
booth now,
with phone,
pictures.
you're finished. So
Yeah.
you've got to really mentally be prepared if you're on this 5 years paper. Stay in your county, tell your probation officer, who knows if they're tracking you, having some sort of alert on your phone or something, because you can violate yourself.
And like you said, your probation officer was, he primarily focused on organized crime.
Yeah.
So he's probably used to a lot of, wise guys that try to be wise and think they're going to, because really there's no way out of that. You weren't an actual wise guy. You were just highly connected.
Right.
But there's really, in a lot of cases, there's no way out for a lot of these guys, right? Like once you're in, you're in. Or is that more in the movies?
Yeah, it's more in the movies. Look, if a guy does does whatever he does, he goes to prison, he gets out, and he goes to his friend and said, look, I didn't tell anybody I'm done, I'm out. What are they going to do? Say, no, you're not. You're stuck forever? No, that's horse shit. They let him out. But he could pick up the phone at any time and call a friend and say, I need a favor, or let's do this.
Right.
All right, he's out, he's out. If he was a capo and says he wants to step down, he wants to retire with his family and go over here, he's done. He's done. He's not like, oh, there's a gun to your head.
Are you still friends with these guys? Like connected guys?
Yeah, good friends. Yeah.
Good
I had dinner with one last night.
Really? Okay. Yeah. You know the boys, Farmer Market?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whole nother story on that one.
Yeah.
But it's got to be wild. Do you ever miss the life? Do you ever miss it's got to be an adrenaline rush associated to this. I was talking to a friend last night who's also got some history, and I told him, I was like, man, sometimes I wish I grew up in that life and I wish I was Italian, because it looks glamorous in a way where it looks exhilarating, risky, but it looks like,
Yeah, the movies really does. Even when I watch a movie, I'm like, wow. But yeah, that's there's parts to it to where it's you're hustling, you're doing shit. You feel like, especially when you're younger, you feel like you're on top of the world. Your mind changes. You're 16, you're 25, you're 35. The way you think keeps changing and changing and changing. But
and now you've got a daughter and stuff to think about.
And you think back and you go, fuck, was I stupid?
I know you just went through some tragedy. I don't know if that's something you talk about at all, or.
Yeah, no, not really.
Okay.
No, yeah.
So but you got a lot on your plate right now.
Oh,
you got business. You've got a little girl. Your little girl lives with you.
Yep.
Okay. So full time with the little girl.
Mm-hmm.
And you're no longer in that lifestyle, but clearly you still have a huge interest to it. What is something you haven't learned? Because I know you got to be out of here in about 30 minutes. You got another meeting. And we'll try to wrap this up in the next 10, 15 minutes, guys. If anybody has any questions, we have a question here. Somebody wants to know, when is your interview going to be with Gravino and Franz?
Mike Franchise and Sammy the Bull? Never.
Oh, never. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, which one are you reading? Are you reading that one?
Oh, if you said Gravino and
Francis?
yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, I can't sit down with those guys.
Another guy said, how about John?
A-Light?
Yeah. Do you know him?
I heard of John A-Light. Yeah. I'm not too, I'm not really a big YouTube.
Okay.
But I've heard about these guys, but I wouldn't sit down with Sammy the Bull. He's put away 30, 35, 40 people, who knows. And Franchise, he just doesn't tell the truth. So
doesn't tell the truth. So no interviews happened with him.
No.
So we're going to try to do something. Maybe
if I had to sit down with Sammy the Bull, there'd be 100 guys waiting outside the door to clip him. Then what? I got a conspiracy to murder. Yeah, he's taking down a lot of people. He won't come out for an interview. There's no way.
Not happening.
No.
So we're going to try to do something on a maybe weekly or bi-weekly basis. That's kind of our plan, at least in motion. And there's another guy here local who I want you to come meet. I told you about him. Tommy's got a channel, MSCS Media, fun setup. But I think we're just chipping the iceberg here.
Okay.
What is something that you haven't really talked about on your channel? That I know it's hard to think about that right now.
There's so much stuff. I mean, like I said,
what's your biggest regret from your past?
None, because if I didn't do what I did, I wouldn't be where I'm at.
Okay.
So I really don't have any.
So you can't look back and say,
Yeah, I mean, I can look back and say, well, I wish I didn't do this to that person, but maybe that's what I had to do to figure out who I am now.
Somebody that might be kind of going down that road, take a young guy, he's kind of like looking for some sort of a family connection. What's some advice you would give somebody that's, because I don't want to glamorize, the life of crime. Clearly it pays, and it can pay, but it also pays dividends on consequences as well, which you've been in prison in other countries and spent a decade in prison in the United States, and nobody would know when looking at you. You seem like a normal, like if I walked down the street, I wouldn't be like, man, this guy looks like he did some time.
Yeah.
Like, you seem like a normal guy. What is some advice you'd want to give somebody to kind of like, really make sure they know what they're getting into?
Crime today, unless you're on a sailboat in the middle of the ocean with a laptop and you're able to hack something where they can't find you, it's almost impossible. They a fly farts in Egypt, they can find out. It's that simple. So unless that crime, whatever you're going to do, let's say, all right, I'm going to do this, and you check the penalty, and the maximum I can get is 3 years, and maybe I'm going to make $4 million if I get caught. You take the risk. If you don't have a wife and kids and all that, that's. I've seen guys in prison with their infants. Who could do that?
Right.
Bringing them to the visitation room. They got 10 years, and they got a little baby that's going to grow up with no daddy, and who knows what's going to happen when the kid turns 14, 15. And they're crying because they can't see their kid. They don't think. But nowadays, you can't do anything. It's almost impossible unless you're that smart on the computer to where you can outsmart them.
Right.
And so, it's...
Do you think that's why there's been a huge, is that the downfall of the mafia?
That's it.
Is cameras and technology?
Can't do anything. In order for someone to get clipped, shot, usually the boss can just say, hey, go do this. Now it takes all 5 families to say, to agree, because they don't want the heat. They just don't want the heat. So that's...
so they probably think about the things they're going to do a lot more...
Oh, absolutely.
deeply.
Because if a boss says, all right, go clip this guy, and then that guy gets popped, and then the shooter gets caught and says, well, I was told by so-and-so to do it. No, the boss is getting arrested.
Right.
It's going up.
That's the whole purpose of RICO
That's
Act
the RICO.
And conspiracy, to get the guy that's not actually got his hand in
Exactly.
Right.
So you got like someone like Gravano, Sam the Bull, that they asked about, who was responsible.
Is he local?
He's hiding in a basement somewhere. He was in witness protection for a while, so he's in Arizona. He's probably still there. He's got a podcast. He tells a pretty good story. But he said he was responsible for 19 murders. I don't know how many directly involved, but let's just say there was 7 of them that he actually pulled the trigger, right? He does 3 years because he took down the boss and other bosses.
Right.
It's 3 years for 7, 8 murders.
Boy, that guy can sing, huh?
Forget about it. He took down... and there's guys who are going to go, it was John Gotti's fault because he got caught on tape talking about... Yeah,
John Gotti's stepson lives somewhere. Is it John Gotti? He's the one that died in prison, right?
Yeah.
His stepson, some kook, lives here local.
Does he?
Yeah. I went and met him. He wanted to do, like how you were doing this right now.
Right.
He wanted to go do this, but when I met him, when I say there was a screw loose, it was every fucking screw was loose.
Jeez.
Yeah, this guy, I can't think of his name. Anybody know Gotti's stepson's name? He wrote books and...
Never even heard of him.
Oh, man, this guy's... that's why I'm always suspicious when people reach out to me. Now, I want to say thank you to Sean Clark, for hooking you and I up together. Sean actually made this happen. So thank you, Sean, for putting me in touch with him. But if it wasn't for that, usually when somebody reaches out to me and they're like, hey, I've got these stories, usually when you start talking to the person, there's like, you're kind of mentally unstable. I don't want to put you in a situation where you might read a viewer comment, and next time I talk to you, I'm reading your obituary because you couldn't handle, because a lot of people, and I read through your comments on your channel, and most of them are funny, but there are a lot of people who are like, he shouldn't be taught. Like they just don't think you're allowed to talk about this because they've either watched one too many movies or, So last question I got for you.
Yeah.
Who's going to win the battle? Is it Mafia or Cartel? Whose side are you going to, if you have to pick a side, which one are you jumping behind?
Cartel all day. Just 2 weeks ago, they just popped a guy in Colombia. It was a perfect hit, right in the grocery store. Guy had 7 bodyguards with him.
What gives the Cartel more power, in your opinion? Like, if you had to break it down to somebody, why you'd back the Cartel versus Mafia? Not why you would, but why somebody would. Is it because they're not here?
Let's say
unreachable?
if they were here, yeah, absolutely. They don't have any rules. If they want to get rid of a problem, they go in and they do it. They don't care if there's kids, women. They don't care. They're taking everybody out. That's it. Whatever the problem is, that's why you don't see a lot of people snitching on them. If you get caught, and you got a whole family in Colombia,
right?
You're not talking because they're going to wipe them all out. So if If the Italians had that code, which they don't, someone flips on the mob. You know, if you get caught and you cooperate, we're going to kill your whole family. The mob would still be here today. But they have a rule: no women, no children. Wife's off limits, kids off limits, all that shit. If they had that rule, we'd still have a mob. Now the cartel has that rule. The cartel is stronger than ever. Colombia, Mexican, you can't fuck with those people. They'll chop down. They'll kill the government. They don't care. They'll blow up a courthouse to get one guy.
Do you think this is aggravating the mob guys right now? Do you think they agree?